Welcome back to Crown Chats and for part 2 of Walker Week, where we are honoring and celebrating the king of Hallmark, Andrew Walker. Let's dive right in. You have quite the legacy at Hallmark, having appeared in over 30 films between Hallmark Channel and Hallmark Mystery. I could arguably say you're the most successful of the Hallmark actors. Is it at this point in your career that Hallmark is coming to you saying, hey, Andrew, what do you want to do over the next year or two? Or are you actively pitching projects to them? How much personal involvement do you have in the projects that you do?
I first off, I appreciate you saying that. There's a lot of a lot of incredible actors that work for Hallmark that I feel like are that have gotten the accolades and also like are apparently the leading talent for Hallmark, but like the Lacey's and the Nikki DeLoach's, Tyler, Paul, Ben Ayers. There's all these incredible actors that are doing amazing things. Chris Pilla, I could go on, Wes Brown. But I think what's great about Hallmark is that we all there's no competition. It's just like we all fit a niche, a need for different things, and we all bring something different to the table. Like Disney has their Mickey and their Minnie and their Goofy and their Daffy, and each character is somebody that represents a different thing and fulfills a need or a void for storytelling. And so I just feel so lucky that I'm part of this incredible community of actors. And but I wish to answer your question, I wish that we got a little bit more foresight into. I wish I could say, yeah, they reach out to me 2 years. Hey Andrew, what do you want to do these next 2 years? Look, they're constantly evolving and changing and trying to. They listen to the fans. They want to. They want to please the fans. They obviously certain decisions they made last year were made because fans spoke up and kind of pushed things through. But on the actors' side, they're doing the same thing. They listen to us more and more now, and especially they see the way the fans react to us when we walk into a Christmas con or the Kansas City experience or the cruise, and I think it's a shock as much to us as and even more so to the execs at Hallmark on the reaction that people have when they see us, and when they feel like they know us so personally, because we we're so vulnerable. We show everybody our most vulnerable sides when we're doing these movies. Falling in love is a very vulnerable thing. And especially the movies that like Nikki DeLoach has done with Brandon Elliott, that movie, and her movie, she tells these like incredibly heartwarming and wrenching stories, and she's just this like catalyst for people. And so it's a very vulnerable thing to do. And so I think that the execs have started to see that, and they now more than ever they're changing things, constantly changing on how they want to approach the stories they tell. And now I feel like more than ever that I've worked for Hallmark, are we able to bring our ideas. And yeah, I have multiple movies in development over there. I've sent them concepts for the past 10 years. And now I can actually have like really good deep dive development calls with execs. And so we're getting there. I think there's still work to do, and so what happens now is I get a call a few weeks before a project shoots, or I'll kind of hear murmurs about it a month before, and we'll say, Andrew, you might be working in April or March, and April at this point right now, and this is the story. We're just doing an availability check on you right now to see if you're available first, and I'll say yes or no, and then as things move along with the script, because they want to make sure the script is tight and greenlit first, and there's a lot of internal things that entails. Obviously, they have their mandate of like what needs to be hit, which points. It's a 9-act script. That's what Hallmark works in these movies, 9-act structure. And so you want to make sure that in each act you're hitting those those points within the story. And look, it's the hardest job at Hallmark, I think, is being an exec. Honestly, like each executive has about 5 to 10 movies that are on their desk, and the detail that needs to go into these stories, because it is such a there yeah there's a type of what's the word I'm looking for, like not like a format. There's a format in how these movies are laid out and told, but the stories are changing constantly. And so how do you stay within that format? How do you still bring those familiar stories to the fans, but make them a little different and continue to make them different? And I think Hallmark has been so great at that. It's like everything, they're always telling a different version of kind of the same story in a way, in a different atmosphere. They're trying to be a little bit more bigger concept now. So how do you do big concept by keeping the same budgets? It's yeah, it's very formulaic, and yet they are always trying to push the needle. So it's tough.
I will say too, there is a lot of talk in the Hallmark community of like, yeah, certain storylines, even certain actors at points, kind of like it's repetitive, it gets stale after a while. But there is a large consensus about you that you are getting better with age, that your performances have even gotten stronger. There were a lot of people even saying that your best performance was Jingle Bell Run.
Oh,
Liver Curious
wow.
Caterer has become a fan favorite mystery series, which says a lot because there have been many. And so a lot of people are very excited to see what you continue to do. And they're like, how does he continue to level up every performance and movie he does? And you did the impossible, even bringing Three Wiser Men and a Boy to be, equal or if not better than the original, which is extremely difficult to do with a sequel, especially as beloved as the first one was. So whatever you're
Thank
doing,
you.
keep it up because
I
every
really appreciate that. Look, it's no mystery that the network was run. There was a whole different, group of people that ran the network back 5 years ago, and then when there was the changing of the guard, new people came in. It was known that we were allowed to, like, I used to do performances back original days, and they would say, okay, Andrew, can you bring it down a little bit? Or Andrew, can you like pull it back a little bit? And I was always my bread and butter when I first came to Los Angeles. I'd worked on in Canada here. It's called YTV. It's like Fox Family TV shows, or like Nickelodeon style TV shows. And so it was all like broad comedy. And then when my first pilot that I booked in Los Angeles, it was called Maybe It's Me. Fred Willard played my dad. It was a really broad comedy, family comedy, coming of age comedy, kind of like a Malcolm in the Middle back in the day. And the show went for a season, and it was the most creative that I'd ever felt I could be. And it was constant ad-libbing, and I was able to comedy was my bread and butter. Did a lot of pilots for ABC that didn't go. And so when I first got when I got my first Hallmark movie, Bride for Christmas, I did that. And then every movie that I did for the short period of time after, let's call it 10 more movies after that, every time I would do a movie, I would be told to maybe bring my performance down a little bit, or just, and it kind of put me in a box a little bit, to be honest. And then what happened was the changing of the guard happened, and we were told that we could just go for it. And so the best thing in the world was like, you tell me to go for it, I'm not going to hold back. And so, yeah, sky's the limit. And if you think it'll be interesting, if you think Jingle Bell Run was my best performance, or Three Wiser Men, I can't wait for people to see Reluctant Royal, because this movie, I am unleashed.
That's what
Uh,
we want.
yeah, so it's a lot of fun. It's a really really great movie that has some incredible comedic moments, and I'm put in many precarious situations, and I just feel like it's such an exciting time to be an actor at Hallmark.
Andrew Walker, the fine wine of Hallmark Channel, getting better at every age and in every role. So cheers to that. And with that said, we are wrapping up part 2 of Walker Week here on Crown Chats. Tune in soon for part 3, where we learn all about Andrew's exciting new movie, The Reluctant Royal, premiering March 8th on Hallmark Channel. So until then, wear your crown. Your crown may tilt, but may never fall. You are beautiful and you are strong.